Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey, I'm Mr. Dandy.
And I'm Mr. Joy.
Welcome to Bubblegum Crisis.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit on the channel about our. Well, this is gonna be a great segue. And just dare I go doing it again about talking about
We always call it into our
to the
segues.
segue. So I've mentioned several times on the channel about how, or the podcast about how we, how I like old school anime. Akomi's not an anime guy per se. Not to mean he doesn't enjoy certain anime or a few of them, but he's not an anime guy per se. And I like old school anime. And one of the old school animes that I like is Bubblegum Crisis. I like the old style of the animation too. So it just so happens that there was that Golan Crisis was available on Tubi. They on the streaming online video, so I guess just streaming video platform, whatever. And so we watched an episode of it, and it's kind of cool. I love the the old style of animation.
I enjoyed it a lot.
So it's cool. So at the end of it, they played this song. Called Mr. Dandy, and the lyrics are, "Hey, Mr. Dandy, hey, Mr. Joy." And to this day, I don't know why it show is called Bubblegum Crisis. I remember somebody told me once it was on something. They looked it up, and I was like, "Hey, this is why it's called Bubblegum Crisis," but I don't really know. So that being said, you always have with anime, you've got titles of TV shows or movies that don't really make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you come across one like One Punch Man. It's like, oh, why is it called that? Because he knocks people out with one punch. Attack on Titan. Why do you call that? Well, these giant Titans are attacking thing, and then people are attack them. So you get ones that okay, that makes sense, and then you get others that just make absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about movies and TV shows and titles, and for those of you who have not seen the documentary that's on Netflix, Electric Boogaloo, but it's a fantastic documentary, and it's all about the Golan-Globus film studio or production company that made a lot of movies back in the day. Menachem Golan and his partner. And one of the things they talk about in the documentary is how he would go and they would sell the rights to movies.
Yeah.
So they would go overseas and they would sell the distribution rights, or the rights to show movies in the different theaters or whatever overseas, and they would show them these movie posters, and and he would describe what the movie was about, and they were like, okay, we want the distribution rights for that once the movie comes out to be able to show it over here.
Yeah. And
then he would take the money, and they would actually use that money to film the movie. So the movie hadn't been made. He didn't have anything. He was actually making up the plot right there while looking at the movie poster. So I always had this movie posters with whoever the action or the actor they had on contract.
Yeah.
So it would be Chuck Norris or whoever it is, and they would have them there, or Charles Bronson, and they would have he would have a movie poster with them doing something action with guns or whatever, and he would just sit there and he would make up the plot right there, tell them about it, and then if they were like, yeah, okay, we want that movie, then he would go back and be like, okay, this is the movie we're going to film, you guys need to write a script about this, and go. And then they would take the money from that and use that to fund to fund it, a movie that hadn't been shot or whatever. And they were making, it was something crazy, they were making something like 20 movies a year or something like most studios don't do.
Well, yeah.
It's a fantastic documentary.
That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
So with that I was like, hey, why don't we do a thing where we just instead of having a movie poster, we will just get a movie title.
Okay.
And we will make up a movie based off of the title. And
so I think you're going to do better at this than I am, because I don't really do well coming up with movies on the fly.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do great.
Stories on the fly, I should say.
So we've got a name generator.
We have a name generator from Rugenberg.nl. It's a title generator.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So we're going to use that, and we're going to generate a title, and we're going to make up the plot of a movie
All right.
for that title. This is going to be fun.
So let me give me some titles. It has produced 6 titles.
Listen to this, you're going to die. I swear you're going to crack up. What?
You know what? I'm going to go with the very first title it produced here because it's really cool. Entwined Ice.
Entwined Ice.
Yes.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah, right?
Entwined Ice. Okay, so Entwined Ice is a spy thriller set in the during the Cold War, and it's about 2 spies. One is an American spy that's working in Europe and in England, and the other is a Russian spy that is also working in England. And the two of them, and they both they know each other are spies, even though they pretend like they don't.
Right.
And while secretly trying to like get information from the other one to do their job, but they end up falling in love, and they fall in love, and then the word gets back to their handlers that they have to kill the other person. The handlers, of course, don't know that they're in love, or that I'll even say that they're married. So they don't know that they're in love and that they're married. They've kept all that a secret, and so now they've both been hired to kill the other person, and that's what they have to do. But they don't want to, and they're trying to find a way to not do it, but also like protect the one. So the American spy is trying to protect because you always have the Russian is always going to be the woman, because she's that whole hot Russian chick, right?
Totally, yeah.
So he's not killing her, and so he's instead protecting her from the other American agents that are trying to kill her. And so she's doing the same thing with the Russian agents that are trying to kill him, while not revealing to the other person that they've been targeted to be killed by the opposing government.
Okay.
And then that is the plot of Entwined Ice.
I like it. Okay. So, if you just hit this give me some titles buttons here, I'll let you pick one of the 6 for me.
Excelente.
Yeah.
Holy shit, can that font be any smaller?
I've just been zooming in.
Okay. Give me some titles. Okay. Wow, these are good.
Right?
I am going to go with Fire of Obsession.
Fire of Obsession. Okay. So, Fire of Obsession, predictably enough, would be a stalker movie.
Ooh.
So, it's about a bunch of high school juniors who, you've got that one really quiet student who nobody pays much attention to or gives a lot of thought to.
Turk182.
Just like that really frail, quiet guy with the glasses who wears the long black coat. The guy that people would eventually suspect would be a school shooter, but
the Shy Boys.
He opens the movie by saying, "I've been rejected over 3,000 times, 1,000 times in person, 2,000 times online." No. No, more like the lead guy from Cruel Intentions, but without the sex appeal. So just like that really quiet, awkward guy, and it starts off just It starts off kind of innocently enough with this really popular girl. We'll say that she's the head of the cheerleader team or something, who decides that she's gonna do this nice thing and have lunch with the guy, and that like it plays off kind of innocently enough, and it seems like a fairly innocent scene. But then as the movie progresses and like she doesn't give it a second thought, doesn't really reach out or talk to the guy anymore after that, but it becomes very apparent that she's being followed, and like you start to catch on that like she's, you know, there are vehicles following her, that there are people who have obviously been like paid to watch her. You know, there'll be like a scene where she sees outside that there's somebody like out in the bushes watching her, and any time that like her family or she like gets close enough to try to see what's going on, the person's gone. And so this just goes on to the point where like she can't sleep, she's like constantly worried, it's affecting her grades and all that. And so like she asks her boyfriend to like confront this nerdy guy, because I mean, you know,
wait, she goes out. She goes out to lunch with him if she's got a boyfriend.
Yeah,
or just to be nice.
Yeah,
right?
she's just being nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know, and like that kind of escalates too, and gets out of hand, and he just winds up like beating the shit out of the guy, and she's like, "No, I just wanted you to talk to him, just tell him, you know, that was never supposed to be that kind of thing. It was just supposed to be a friendly meal." And but yeah, so like just him and a bunch of his like cronies just like wind up beating the shit out of this poor guy. And so like it goes on, and eventually like there's a night where her parents like go out of town, and just as she's about to go to bed, she hears a noise down in the kitchen, and she goes down to investigate, and somebody's broken in. And it's just this person in a hockey mask, and not a hockey mask, a ski mask, and he kidnaps her, and just takes her out to a warehouse. And so she's tied down, and she's like freaking out and crying, and he takes the ski mask off, and it turns out to be her boyfriend, and he's just been like unable to let it go since she had lunch with this nerdy guy. So he's the one who's been doing the stalking and the following, because he deemed that to be a breach of trust.
So it was like, oh, like people saw you out with him, and
Right.
it's like, how could you do this to me? And it's like, because
Right,
you know,
so-
I'm so much better than him.
Exactly, and that's also why he like beat the shit out of the nerdy guy as well.
Yeah, gotta know your place.
So, and of course, so you know, at that point, it's revealed, oh yeah, all of that happened, and you know, he's the one who'd like hired the people to follow her and all that stuff, and you know, it's kind of like typical Hollywood fashion. The nerdy guy's going to show up to try to rescue her, and like he saw the guy like come in through her window and all that. Just happened to be passing through, and he like comes and like tries to rescue her. Clearly doesn't really stand a chance, but you know, like any good like high school suspense movie, much like that. What was that Brad Pitt movie?
A Cutting Class?
Yeah, Cutting Class. Much like Cutting Class, you know, it's like it's going to be like a kind of a situation where the bad guy's just clumsy and winds up kind of hurting himself on some like power tool equipment, and so they manage to escape, and the police are called on him. But there you go. So that would be Fires of Obsession, was it?
I think it's Fires of Obsession.
Fire of Obsession.
Geez, what's wrong with my mouth right now? Fires of Obsession
So yeah, so there you go.
by Calvin Klein.
So nothing too fancy. I told her I wasn't going to be super good at this.
No, I like that. I like that. You know, in the end, it turns out that it wasn't a nerdy guy that was all infatuated with her. You know, it was the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I assume you're going to add some touches in there too, where like even when she's like when they get close to like finding like looking and seeing who's following her, like the cars and stuff disappear, but then you do see like the nerdy guy like walking away or something,
Yeah.
because he's been following the boyfriend,
Right,
But
right.
it always looks like he's the one that's doing it.
Yeah, just like, and he's so like shy and awkward that anytime she does confront him on it, he's just like, he's too backwards to even really say anything to her. So it's like, he never owns up to it, but he also never says no, because he just doesn't want to be confrontational with her.
Plus, I mean, it's not like she'd believe him anyway. It's like, no,
Right,
it's not me.
yeah.
It was Kevin, your stepbrother.
Kevin.
All right, not bad.
Right.
Where are we at?
Where are we?
I know
at?
we're so early.
15 minutes, so we could do like a couple more plots apiece here.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what I got here. I don't want to give you another really hard one.
I don't mind. I mean, it's supposed to be like, stimulating my creativity,
Okay.
our creativity.
Then how about silvery dreaming?
Silvery dreaming.
Yeah, I was gonna give you an easier one, but then you said all that, so
Wow, but you got to give me something to work with. Holy shit. Silvery dreaming. Okay. Silvery dreaming is actually based off of a Nicholas Sparks novel.
that works.
So
That's like shockingly well.
So silvery dreaming is about a girl whose last name is Silvery. Yes.
You're just kind of phoning it in here.
What? It's Nicholas Sparks. Everybody had to think too much. Oh, so it's
So Jane Silvery.
yes, Jane Silvery. So yeah, it's about this girl named Silvery, and she's got a lot of stuff going on in her life. She's 23. She's kind of had to drop out of college to move back, and well, she had to drop out of college, but she's to move back home to take care of her mom after her father died, because they've been together for so long, and like she's like the last of the kids, like she's like the youngest of the three kids, so the other ones are older and they've got families and they've kind of moved on, so none of them can actually move back to take care of mom or help her, because she's older, she's like in her 60s or whatever. And so she's kind of dropped out of college, supposedly temporarily, so that she can take care of her and then either maybe enroll in the local college which she doesn't want to do, or just kind of drop out and then go back in. Of course, since this is something that she's doing, like a hardship she's got to do. The university is letting her do it, but they're like, oh, but you've got to be back by this time, or else we're not going to hold your credits, or they're like, this semester you'll have to repeat the whole thing, and you have to pay for it all over again, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So because it's universities now, they really want his money, and maybe you get an education too, but yeah, pay us first. So she goes back to take care of her mom, and she's like everything is so much harder now. Taking care of her mom is harder. There's all these different things that are going on, and she ends up kind of getting together with her like high school boyfriend who stayed in town, and he's kind of made like a little bit of a life for himself, but he's nothing big. He didn't go to college, he went straight from like graduation into the workforce, and he like now he's works as an automobile mechanic, and he's taken over his father's shop, and so he repairs cars. He does a decent living and all that, but then things are getting really kind of rough for what's her name, Jane Silvery or whatever, and she keeps having these dreams, and like in these dreams, like her life is like she'll have like a bad day, or she'll like have a dream about the like the day or the week, or everything is really great, and then like the next day she realized it was just a dream, and things are like harder than they were. Like in the dream, it's like, oh, everything went right, and now it's like everything's going wrong.
Right.
And then you start to see that where like there's this kind of like a something's going on. It's like kind of confusing to her, and she's having problems like relating, and then you realize that that she's actually in a coma. Like she was coming back to take care of her mom, but on the way there she was in an accident, and she's been in a coma the whole time.
Oh wow!
And so she's been in this coma, and like the things that are going wrong, it's basically her mind fighting whether to give up or to like fight back for to be conscious again.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what Silvery Dreams is. And then the guy from her old boyfriend from high school is actually there. He's been ever since he found out that she was in an accident. She's in that local hospital. He's been coming in and like, like seeing her and looking over and all the troubles. Like, so when he's talking to her and he's talking about, like the good times they had and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, how it was like, oh, if you hadn't gone away to college, we would have, I was hoping we would have had a life together. And I wanted to go to.
If only you didn't like to party.
Huh?
I said, "Oh, Buck, if only you didn't like to party."
That's right. It's like whenever you came over, Buck, it was always one thing. And how he wanted to like follow her to college, but he couldn't, and he didn't have any choice but to take over like the auto shop. And when he heard that she was coming back in town, he thought that maybe she would then understand why he had to take over the auto shop, because it was much in the same reason why she had to come back to take over. But she just kind of saw him as like, you don't have any dreams or any aspirations, because he wasn't as smart as she was too, but he had every intention of following her, and it didn't work out. But then, like, all the bad stuff that's going on is the reality of the situation. Like, he actually has a fiance, and she comes near and has like fights with him or whatever. Like, why are you spending so much time with this coma girl and blah, 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 blah. She left you, remember? What, are you still in love with her? And of course, he's trying to pretend like he's not. And of course, when her mom comes in there and she's like, oh, honey, I wish you were awake to take care of me. Things are going so bad. So all this stuff is like interrupting like the good parts of her coma, where she's like envisioning this whole world of like what should be going on. And then the troubles of what really is going on are creating the bad parts of her world. And then it's like, well, if I, obviously if I wake up, then waking up is confronting all the bad stuff.
Right, yeah.
But staying in the coma, I get to have all the good stuff.
Right, yeah.
So, and so it's like trying to get through to her. Of course, no one knows what's going on in her head.
Because when you sleep in, there are no lonely times, only dreams.
That's right. So it's them trying to get her to wake up. But of course, waking up means confronting all the bad stuff, and she's running away from that in her head. And then, as the viewer, of course, you want to be like, no, don't run away. You've got to challenge it so you can wake up and have the good life that you don't know is waiting for you on the other side. And of course, because it's Nicholas Sparks, in the end, all the guys in the audience will be bored to death. And and they'll just be wishing, why wasn't I in that coma instead of actually being here watching this movie?
The dumb shit you do just to get laid.
So, and of course, yeah, in the end, she will, like, it'll look like she's giving up and they're going to pull the plug on her, but then she fights through it. She's like, no, I've got to confront this. I've got to confront everything. And then she goes through and then wakes up, and then everything's great. And they get to be together, and she takes care of her mom and stuff. And in the end, and that's Silvery Dreams.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I actually cried a little bit in my pants.
Hate when that happens.
What was it that Hawkeye said, the Age of Ultron? Oh yeah, bet you didn't see that coming. You just let that one sit in for a minute.
Yeah, boy.
Joke hand grenades, they're the best.
Yeah, I do like the stealth jokes.
Normally I do joke landmines where you step on it and you don't know it's a joke until you take your foot off, but then you're like, I really am not going to go any further into this joke, so the joke never goes off.
Did I ever tell you about the joke landmine I set for my manager at my first job?
Mm-mm.
He was like, tell me a joke. I was like, you're not gonna get it for a while. And he was like, no, just tell me a joke. I was like, okay. Did you hear the one about the cannibal who dumped his girlfriend? He was like, no. I was like, you will. And it was like 5 minutes later that he just stopped what he was doing and he looked back up and he was like, that's gross.
Wait, what's the joke?
The cannibal who dumped his girlfriend. All right.
So you know what? When you started that off, I thought you were going to go a different way. Because you was like, hey, tell me a joke. And you say, okay, but you're not going to get it for a while. And then you just walk away.
That's how you keep an idiot in suspense.
Well, no, it's like tell me you're not going to get it for a while, so it's going to be a while before I tell it to you.
Right.
And I think that'd be funny.
That would be great. All right, give me another title. We got a few minutes before we ad break here.
Okay. All right, and yours is Showers of Gold.
Seriously?
No, I'm joking. I haven't even pushed the button yet.
I'm sorry. It means what?
Okay. I'm really kind of tossed here between The Men's Dreaming, Rough Thought, or The Wet Girl. And I am not kidding. Those are the actual ones that came up.
It's all pretty much going to be the same movie. Yeah, those are the alternate titles.
I'm going to spin again.
All right.
Because the other ones are Something of Winter, and that's just like The Dreams of the Truth. I'm like, we just kind of did a dream thing.
Yeah.
And then Years in the Destiny, which doesn't really give me much. Years in the Destiny. It's kind of like like that Steely Dan song, you know, reeling in the years. Smooth Girls. I like that one.
Okay.
No, that's not what you're getting. Ooh, here we go. Door in the Boy.
Door in the Boy.
Door in the Boy.
Okay, so...
From V.C. Andrews, author of Flowers in the Attic, comes Door in the Boy.
Billy, open your door for me, son. So Door in the Boy, actually, it was actually from the early 2000s. It was an attempt to kind of capitalize on the success of Ultraviolet and those like highly stylized movies where it's like all style, no substance. It's like, well, hey, as long as we have a lot of like really cool colors and lights and
so Michael Bay film.
yeah, well, I mean, Michael Bay is more just like explosions and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, Ultraviolet, I would say, you know, like the main appeal there is that you've got, you know, Mila Jovovich, or however you say her name. God, it's late. I'm half asleep. And, you know, you've got like all that like white and like neon purple aesthetic.
Yeah, there's some really good visual scenes in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good movie, but like visually, it's crazy. So yeah, so that's what the Door in the Boy is like kind of playing off of here, and it takes place in like it takes place in like a really futuristic city. A very very clean futuristic city, so not so much like Blade Runner as it is just like, you know, everything is like polished and brightly lit and all that.
Like Coruscant?
Yeah, Coruscant would be a good way of comparing it.
Okay.
So Door in the Boy is about this, it's almost like a retelling of Pinocchio with like a sci-fi twist. This guy makes a little android to be his son, and is like kind of like his adopted son, not entirely unlike Astro Boy, but this guy being a brilliant roboticist, the military really wants his trade secret so that they can start developing robots to weaponize for their military. And he wants to just use his inventions as creations of peace. He wants to like better the world with it. So when he makes this android son of his, he installs a door, which is basically like, in this movie, it's just basically like a floppy disk drive, and he puts all of his blueprints and stores it in the son, and tells him that if the military ever comes for him, that he has to run and keep his door protected so that the military can't get it. So, of course, you know, at the end of the first act, the military does come after the old man, and they capture him, but the boy takes off and has to basically survive on his own in this, like, big scary city, and has to also protect his father's secrets. So then, of course, you know, he's trained by a mentor, he learns how to fight and protect himself, and he goes and saves his father.
Not bad.
So yeah, there we go.
Okay, I can see that. So I got to ask you a question.
I had to try really hard not to make that sexual.
Yeah, I could see that. So my question here for you is Dora and the Boy, and of course this is not how this was set up, so I'm just adding this in there. Dora and the Boy sounds like it would be more of a European title. What is the American title of your movie?
Ooh. It would probably just be the name of the character, right?
I don't know. It's your movie, dude.
Yeah, I think it would be shit. I haven't really thought of a good name here, but like Jimmy Sprocket Boy Android or something like that.
Jimmy Sprocket Boy Android.
Yeah. I guess it's a little close to Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius shit. Yeah, well, I mean, hell, we could just go with the Boy Android. As a matter of fact, yeah.
That sounds like it would be an American name to a movie like that. But like, Boy Android.
Yeah. So, there we go.
All right, Boy Android. Okay, not bad.
Thank you. That was a struggle to come up with.
Yeah, when I saw that title, I was like, you know what, that's going to be a difficult one. But that title was kind of it was too good to pass up.
I actually like the premise there. I'm kind of into that story. We should do something with that.
Oh, see, you got to be careful with that because remember that's how that one thing started. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this thing, and I was like, oh, you know what? I've created a lot of like really interesting ideas for the story that I didn't really want to do. That I just kind of made up, and now shit.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, but I don't know. I actually really like that whole premise. It feels more like it would be an anime than anything, but I do like the premise.
All right.
Anyway, but yeah, so this is fun, but we are going to take a quick ad break.
Yep.
So
kind of have to.
Yeah, I mean it's the law.
Yeah, we've got to keep the power on and keep the keep the air conditioning going because podcasting is some hot sweaty work, especially the way we do it.
Steamy, hot sweaty work.
That's right. I mean, the way we podcast, we just create steaming piles of work all over the place.
I just open the door in the boy, and we get work everywhere.
Oh, God, yes.
Get hatred on my face.
God, so much hatred on my face. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry for scaring you earlier when I was showing you how to drive my car with my mind. Look, Ma, no hands. Look, hands, no Ma. All right, so, ad? Yeah?
Ad. So we're back, everybody. I hope I remember to cut all that out.
If you don't, I will. You know what? I'm not ashamed of my love for Susan Sarandon.
I'm not ashamed of my love for Debbie Harry.
So, yeah.
So we may just keep that in.
Yeah, just because, yeah. Susan Sarandon. This is one of those times where I can actually say, hey, I got a thing for older women, as opposed to the other times when I'm like, I have a thing for older women, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's my age. It's like every time I think about that, it's like the end of the Eminem song "Stan." It's like, wait, it was you. Damn. I'm like, wait a minute, her age is, damn.
Man, I don't have any problem at all with dating older women. Hey, ladies, who wants to come break a hip?
I mean, we're talking about like a Harold and Maude situation, but I mean, yeah, I mean.
Anyway, so yeah, we're doing movies. We're generating movie titles and coming up with plots based off of them.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you didn't just decide to tune in after the commercial, the ad break.
For those of you who just randomly slide the play bar around, just happen to land on this side of the ad.
Eventually they'll get to something funny. And
oh God, it's been 53 episodes. That's too.
And little did you realize how wrong you were.
We're not even consistent. It's not like we're consistently like hit and miss or consistently funny or consistently unfunny. It was just like we're never the same twice. All right.
Our moms think they're funny. It's a lie. They didn't change the recipe. They keep saying the same shit over and over again.
Oh, all right. So, Turk, your title this go round is Bound Sword.
Bound sword.
Yeah.
Oh, wow! I have one for this already. Honestly,
All right. Sweet.
yeah, I'm digging this.
Yeah, I went with it because it sounded like it could be like a fantasy story or a samurai story.
Okay, so Bound Sword is about it takes place in feudal Japan, and it's about a we're not sword swingers, but a samurai. It's about a samurai who's like kind of one of the best samurai like in that region.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much no one that can go up against him, and because of that, everyone has been vying for for his services. He's not a ronin. He has a master, but it's like everyone's trying to kind of like get him away from, like, everyone wants this guy. He's just that talented. He's that good of a swordsman to where they all basically, there's been like a decree that to kind of keep this from going any further is that he's agreed to put up his sword and to never pull his sword again. And that way it'll stop all the kind of the fighting amongst all the other towns, to try to get him to be their swordsman or whatever. So, but then, years later, trouble comes to his town. And part of that is because they know that if he were to pull his sword, that the penalty for that would be death. Because then if he breaks his word and pulls his sword, one, he's dishonored himself. That makes him no good. Mm-hmm. Plus, you may have some people that would still be like, I don't care if you're dishonored. You're still the best swordsman, ever in the land. And so they come there knowing that he wouldn't dare pull his sword, because then, of course, he would have to die. Yeah. So they go and they start attacking the town, and so he has to protect the town, but obviously he can't draw his sword. And at first he tries to get help. He's like, look, our town is being attacked. Remember, I can't protect them because I swore not to. And then he realizes that it comes to attention that there's a plot basically to try to get him to break his word so that he can be killed, because there's people that are wanting that.
Yeah.
And so no one is going to protect their town. So it's either your town gets destroyed or you'll have to defend them by breaking your word. And so he decides he's going to protect his town and will do it the best way he can without drawing his sword, if he can help it.
Nice.
So that is Bound Sword.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And I believe that there were samurai who would actually tie their swords into the scabbards so that they couldn't draw them out.
Oh.
So that would actually work with that, because then he is actually literally binding his sword.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed making that up.
Very nice.
All right, so I believe it is your turn.
It is. Wow me with a title.
I will do my best. All right, let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. The Serpent of the Teacher.
The Serpent of the Teacher. Okay.
Yes.
That is actually going to be a mystery story.
Ooh.
My first thought was some kind of fantasy or like wizard school type scenario.
That's what I was thinking.
But no, I want this to be a mystery story with the detectives. So it's It's going to take place in the 40s, not good old 1940s detective style. It's kind of a
nice.
Sam Spade type character. And he will be examining a murder that takes place at a college.
Okay.
And turns out that one of the professors there at the college was murdered. And the only thing that happened is that a golden snake statue was taken after the teacher died. So he has to explore that and find out the reason why that statue was taken.
Why the teacher was killed and why the statue was taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be it's your typical mystery story with a lot of misdirection and a lot of red herrings and a lot of this guy's clearly the guilty one when he's not. But then eventually he will come to find out that there are certain faculty members in the school who are part of an ancient cult who wanted to use the serpent statue in a ritual to awaken their god. So, of course, being the heroic detective, he eventually puts the kibosh on that and manages to stop them. But yeah. So not my most expansive plot, but that would be the gist.
Okay. All right, so that would be the plot of The Serpent of the Teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad. All right, I can see that.
So definitely not my best, but yeah, no, I think it's a serviceable plot.
And so you don't really see a lot of a lot of cult mystery type movies set in like the 1930s or 40s.
40s,
The
yeah.
40s, like kind of pulp era.
Yeah.
With those kind of detectives.
I mean, that's my favorite time period of detective story. Is like you've got those guys who like it's just after World War II, or you have those guys who couldn't serve in the war because they'd like sustained injuries or something. And it's just like it's those big burly like square jawed guys who wear the trench coats and the fedoras, and like I love that aesthetic.
What you need to see is there's two movies, and I got to think of what they are. I've got IMDb open right now, so I'm gonna pull up Dennis Hopper because I actually one of them I think I have in my watch queue on Amazon, and I know it's probably one of the things that's gonna hit me before I even see the name of the movie. But it's crap. One keeps popping out. Heads like Once Upon, but that's not what it's called. It's not Once Upon a something. It's it's from the mid to late 90s. But there are two movies. The same character. The first one has Dennis Hopper in it, and the second one has I think Fred Ward plays the character. I'm getting closer here.
Sure.
So,
And I'll just keep running my mouth while you're finishing your look there. Oh, okay.
Okay. So the first one is called Witch Hunt.
Okay.
And Dennis Hopper's character is a guy by the name of H. Philip Lovecraft.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding. It's actually, I'm not going to say it's the best movie ever because it's been a while since I've seen it. And it was a made for HBO movie. But, and this is why I'm bringing this up. I'm just going to read the description here from IMDb. Detective Philip Lovecraft lives in Los Angeles in the 1950s when an ambitious senator is holding hearings on magic. Magic's the new influence in Tinseltown. Lovecraft is unique in that he is the only one who refuses to use magic in his work. Shortly after he's hired, he finds his client, Kim Hudson, accused of murder of her husband, a film executive. Philip uses the talents of a local witch, Kropkin, to explain what's happening, only to see her accused of the murder and sentenced to be burned at the stake, reminiscent of Roger Rabbit without the tunes. So actually, Witch Hunt is the second one. I was thinking that was the first one, but no, Witch Hunt is the second one. The first one, I got to pull it up here because I got to pull it up by the character. Cast a Deadly Spell. There it is. So Cast a Deadly Spell was the first one, and that's the one that has Fred Ward in the lead. And and so I'm just going to read Cast a Deadly Spell here. So this one, I said this one is the one that's actually on Amazon. But in 1948 Los Angeles, everyone uses magic except hard-boiled private detective H. Philip Lovecraft, who refuses for personal reasons. Lovecraft is hired by a mysterious rich man to recover a stolen book, the Necronomicon. Investigating, he finds that the book holds the key to releasing, a key to taking over the world by magical means, releasing the old ones. So they're not bad. They're actually kind of cool.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, I dug them when I saw them. So, Cast a Deadly Spell is on Amazon Prime.
Awesome.
And so it's free, and it's got Fred Ward, David Warner. For those of you that don't know David Warner, he's done a lot of stuff. He is Billy Zane's kind of right-hand man guy in Titanic.
Oh, okay.
Or Titani. It also has Julianne Moore and Clancy Brown. I mean, so
Damn.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome right there.
It is funny that you brought up that these movies like kind of bring up Lovecraft, because that's what I was gonna say, is that like, you know, you do see like mystery stories with like in Lovecraft that that kind of bring about cults, and you kind of see that in some Sherlock Holmes stories, that there are like these secret societies and cults and stuff. But you really don't see that with, like, the Sam Spade, like, Lieutenant Columbo type guy of, like, you know, I'm gonna, like, stand under the streetlight and smoke a cigarette and, like, flip a quarter.
Right.
And so I would love to see that, kind of thing there. So, yeah.
So I also want to mention two things. One is Cast a Deadly Spell was directed by Martin Campbell. Okay. Those of you that don't know Martin Campbell, he directed GoldenEye.
Wow.
He also directed The Mask of Zorro. That's the first one with Banderas.
Oh, that's a good one.
Vertical Limit, which isn't a bad movie at all, and Casino Royale.
Wow.
So Martin Campbell's got some chops on him. He did a couple of movies that weren't quite as good, but I mean, those four I think really stand out. And Vertical Limit's not a great movie, but it has some really nice scenes in it, and I love Scott Glenn's like scene where it's in the trailer, I believe, where he's talking to Chris O'Donnell's character, and he's like, you know, my sister's dying on that mountain. He's like, no, on that mountain you're either. He goes, my sister's trapped there. He's like, no, on that mountain you're either dying or you're dead. You know, it's like that's it. There's no two things about it.
There's no trapped.
But and Cast a Deadly Spell has Lee Tergesen in it. And I'm not sure if people know Lee Tergesen, and if they don't, I'm gonna change my name. But if you don't know Lee Tergesen, I'm only going to mention him because there's a lot of character actors out there, and you know those people, they just kind of skip right over them for the big names and stuff. And you know, like some people that are like really good actors. Like I love Paul Giamatti. Yeah. Paul Giamatti is one of my favorite actors. And he is very much a character actor. He's not really going to carry a movie like all of himself, maybe an HBO movie or whatever, but you're not going to see his name at the top of anything that's going to be like, you know, like a big summer release or whatever it is.
Right.
But Paul Giamatti is a damn good character actor. Even like Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like his, I am the Rhino. That's like my favorite part in that movie. He's like the shit. But he's fantastic. So you know people like that, but then you've got people like Lee Tergesen here who are really good and are very versatile. And I'm going to mention him because he is such a good like actor. In the roles that he does, is so versatile. But I've never seen him really kind of get up there and get a lot of the and get a lot of attention. So on this limited like audience podcast that we have right here, I'm going to give him some of that attention. So he's recently in the Watchmen TV series that was on HBO.
Awesome.
But a lot of you may remember him. And I want to make sure I get his name right, so I'm going through here on IMDb. A lot of you may remember him from Point Break, the original Point Break, the good Point Break, with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. And he played I don't want to mess up his name here because he had a kind of a more of a girly name. And you know, whenever I'm put on the spot like this, I'm like always like, I don't remember. Because what keeps popping my head is the other character he played is the name. Anyway, in Point Break he played Rosie. Now, if you guys don't remember Point Break or remember that well, Rosie was the guy that Patrick Swayze's Bodie was like everyone else surfed, Rosie didn't surf. He sat on the beach, he watched their stuff, and then in the end, when everything's going down, he's like, "Look, she's not with me. She's with Rosie." He's like, and Rosie, he's like a single-minded guy. He's got a one-track mind. You tell him to do something, and he does it, and doesn't let anything stand in his way.
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's the character that he played, and he comes across as this, not really a psychopath, but he's this guy that, like you said, you tell him to do something, he does it. So if you tell him to do a job that's a job, quote unquote, he does that job.
Right.
And he embodies that character very well. So the other thing that Lee Tergesen did was he plays Terry in Wayne's World.
Oh, wow.
Terry's the long-haired guy that's sitting there. He's the one that operates the camera.
Yeah.
When he's like, what you didn't say, when he's the one where they're doing these things, 3, 2, and he does, he's also one that's sitting there. He's like, "I love you, man." He's like, "I love you too." It's like, no, you understand. I love you, man.
Yeah.
He was also in Oz, the TV series Oz, the HBO series Oz.
Okay.
And for those of you who have seen Oz, well, some people called Oz a male soap opera, which I guess you kind of see it. But he was the lawyer that was sent to Oz that ended up being raped by J.K. Simmons, Aryan Brotherhood guy all the time, and eventually ends up fighting back and stuff. But yeah, so he played that role too. He also played the role of Chet in the Weird Science TV series. So he played Chet. I mean, the guy is really, really good, and he's very versatile. And you see him do all this stuff, and you hardly ever see him kind of like I said, most people don't know his name, but he's really good. And you've seen him in a ton of shit, and you don't really realize that he can go from one kind of character type to the other. And of course, that's an actor's job.
Right.
But he's really good at going from one kind of character type to the other. And really selling that role. And I like Lee Tergesen a lot. I mean, I've seen him in quite a few movies. Even just kind of flipping through here, I was like, yep. And then let's see. Most recently, he was in. And I just saw it here. But most recently, he was in another movie where it's like, okay, there he goes again, playing a really good, character actor. And it's kind of awesome. So I just wanted to mention him because I saw his name there. I'm like, yeah, I gotta want to give a shout out to him because the guy's a damn good actor. I don't know what he's like in person. He could be a complete dick. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I don't know. He could be, but he's a damn good actor, and he does a really good job of playing multiple characters and really embodying those roles. And in things that you've seen him 100 times and just probably don't even recognize you've seen him.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little shout out to him for those roles there. Yeah. So anyway. Cats of a Deadly Spell and Witch Hunt are both really good pulp character stories set in this case, the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
With magic.
Yeah. I like it.
Witch Hunt actually tells you why he refuses to use magic.
Oh, cool.
There's a really cool scene, and it's in a trailer, I think, for it, where the guy has that one Hollywood guy. He has some people over for a party, and he brings a kind of a girl out to for the guy to be the guy's entertainment, and he's like, "What do you think of her?" And he's like, "Oh," he says, "She's cute, but her breasts aren't big enough." And then he just kind of thinks the next, her they get bigger, It's like, look, it's like, the whole thing is like, using magic in Hollywood. These people are kind of doing whatever they want,
right,
without any rules. Anyways, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna say it's the best movie ever. It's been a while since I've seen it. Sometimes you see a movie, you're like, this movie's so awesome. You go back and watch it, like, oh, I wish I watched it before I recommended it. But these are kind of cool. You got Fred Ward, you got Dennis Hopper. How could you go wrong?
Oh yeah, I like Dennis Hopper a lot.
Yep.
All right. Well, you ready for your last movie?
Where we at? We might want to take one more ad break before we do another movie.
Oh, well, you know what? We're actually at 55 minutes, so we could just call this an episode.
No, I want to do one more. Please, Acomi, please, can we do one more?
Okay, but if we're only doing one movie each, I don't know if we can really justify another ad break.
I can justify an ad break. I can take up an ad break in every 2 minutes if I wanted to. Shit, we're trying to make some money here, damn it!
That makes editing so much worse, but okay.
Come on,
one more ad break.
I mean, shit, you think I was making this stuff up for fun? This isn't fun for me. I'm trying to get some money here. Cash rules everything around me, ninja.
All right, ad break.
Thank you.
And we're back.
Oh, you better listen to that fucking ad too.
Hope
They know
you're
when you're
happy.
listening. And those guys are like Santa Claus. They know when you're listening, know when you're awake, and it's because Google's spying on you and selling all your data.
All right, you ready for your last movie now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've got The Touch of the Alien.
Do I have the power of the alien too?
If you want it. That could be the sequel.
Because after all is said and done, you never walk, you never run. You're a winner.
Yeah, that's what Christian says.
God damn it! I hate you. I hate you. Oh.
You got the touch!
Don't you do it.
You got the power!
The sad thing is I don't think I can sing any better.
You would almost have to sing better.
I don't think I could. I would sing like I sing like a vinyl recording of an 8-track. All right.
All right, so The Touch of the Alien.
The Touch of the Alien. Okay, so The Touch of the Alien is are you familiar with Pearl Jam?
A little bit. Not super. I've got their entire discography, I just haven't listened through it yet.
Well, there's a song by Pearl Jam called Dissident. And Dissident is a really kind of cool song. It's actually a sad song, but Dissident is about a dissident is about a dissident that is on the run and asks this woman for help, and she takes him in. She's hiding him, but then like she gets so afraid of getting caught and what will happen if she gets caught, kind of hiding away this dissident, that she eventually ends up turning him in.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he gets taken away by the police and military or whatever, and, of course, killed being a dissident. So Touch the Alien is kind of like that story about the dissident, but it's about in this case, it's not a space alien. It's it's someone from another country that has come into, I guess we can, I don't want to put it in America because I think that's, when you put it, I guess you could put it in America because it doesn't mean that they had to come in from over like a northern border or a southern border. They could have just come in like on a cargo ship or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's about someone that is escaping something from their homeland, and they come across, and someone is like hiding them out, because like they think that they're doing the right thing because they're like, oh, you poor person, and they kind of hide them out for a little while, and then they kind of start to get scared, and the alien kind of runs away, and they actually end up tricking them into running away, going like, oh no, like they found out you're here, you've got to go, but really they were just too scared, and said that so the person would run as opposed to turning them away, and then after the person leaves, they start to wonder about them, like what happened to them, are they safe? And as they hear these stories on the news, like, oh, this person was caught here, this person, and they were wondering, like, was it them? Was it them? And then they think about like during the time that they were with them, like how they kind of like changed their view of like the world and their lives and all that. And it's like, like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing by did I do the right thing by forcing them away? Just because I was scared, and like who knows what would happen to this person? And there was no one coming after them. No one knew they were there. I was just scared, and the thing is, I learned, even that small amount of time, I learned so much about them, or about myself. Not necessarily because they were like oh, the poor person. I mean, I'm not trying to get into a whole thing about whether the person was like a. They were. I'm not trying to turn them like Bagger Vance, like, oh,
right.
They was like, and they came and taught me peace in my life and blah 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 blah. But it was like, they showed me like a different either worldview or a different view about myself or whatever. Or maybe it's like, oh, hey, they told me that, maybe you should put salt in your food when you're cooking it, otherwise you can't season it properly. And now, oh, man, everything tastes better. Just like something about, just they didn't know before about their lives, and about the world, and kind of like open their eyes up to things. And now they're like, oh shit, this person, I turned them away just because I was scared, but what has happened to them? And in the movie, you never know what happens to them. This person wonders the whole time, every time they hear about something that bad has happened to, like, whatever, and they're like, what happened to this person? They wonder whatever happened to them. Did they find someone else to take care of them? Did they end up being caught and like sent back to their own country? Were they killed? Whatever it is. And all they can really do is think about, like how just in that brief point of time that they were there, how they touched their lives, and they changed things for them, and also like kind of like open them up to like caring more about other people than just themselves.
Yeah.
And that is the touch of the alien.
All right. I like it.
That was a hard one. Because I didn't want to do the sci-fi thing, so I want to do something different.
I kind of figured you would go with sci-fi.
Yeah, and the bad thing was like when I'm like going with something different, I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to get in this whole political thing, like, oh, aliens or whatever. But I just wanted to like go something different, and that's really the only way I could take it.
Yeah, that works.
Without being E.T. or Starman or aliens.
Ooh, aliens.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's my turn to.
Yeah.
I mean, your turn to. My turn for you to pick.
Yep. Give me
Okay.
one last one, and we will call it a day.
Oh man, you got a couple other. They're really good.
Okay.
There's one called The Slithering Ship. That sounds like it would have been more like an Alfred Hitchcock 3 investigator story, The Slithering Ship.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go with The Destruction of the Mists.
The Destruction of the Mist.
Mists, plural. More than one mist.
Mists.
Yes.
Okay. The Destruction of the Mists.
Like,
So, on the initial surface, this will seem to be kind of a supernatural thriller, but it's going to be painted up like kind of a dorky comedy with John C. Reilly and Owen Wilson. And so, like, they're kind of these bumbling investigators who are, like, bumbling paranormal investigators who are trying to, like, get everything under control. So you'll see at the beginning of the movie that there are these mists that are basically like these little traveling pockets that serve as dimensional portals that allow, like, ghosts and monsters in. And so you do have paranormal investigators who are like trying to destroy these mists, which is basically shutting down these portals, and they're trying to return the monsters back to their main dimension. And of course, you have, like, in a similar vein to the other guys, you have just these two bumblers who like fuck up everything they do. And so that's where you get John C. Reilly and Owen Wilson coming in as this team. And like you have this moment where like they manage to recover a really important artifact that's going to be integral to like destroying all of these mists and removing them from the earth. And then of course they trip and shatter it, and that just makes everything worse. So now everybody's having to work twice as hard to try to quell this. But then Owen Wilson and John C. Reilly like start to see like a common thread and see who the evil spirit is who started orchestrating this to begin with, and they know if they can stop him, then they can just shut down all of the mists all at the same time. And being the bumbling incompetence that they are, none of the other paranormal investigators want to help them or want to listen to what they have to say, so they have to do it on their own.
Oh. So almost like Zoolander with paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
And no Ben Stiller.
Yeah, some elements of Zoolander, some elements of the other guys, and of course some elements of Stephen King's The Mist.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah.
Okay. I dig that. So when you started it off with, I was like, huh, because as you started off, I had like a kind of an idea in my head too, with like these like two angels that work for God.
Oh, okay.
And when God is like helping make the planet, he makes this new weather event, and then they accidentally delete it. and it's called the mist, and they accidentally delete it, and then they're like, "Oh crap, we've got to make it back," but they don't know what to do. And
So it's all just a gray haze,
right? So what we have is what we called mist is not exactly what was originally intended.
And what's great is that would still work with John C. Reilly and Owen Wilson.
Right?
What did you do? What did you do? Why'd you delete it?
I think it was like this.
Horrible idea. God's gonna be back any minute.
So then they have to fake it. They have to, so whenever he's like, you know what? I think it's time to make it mist over here. It's like, oh, we'll take care of that. And you have to pretend to make it mist.
Wow. I mean, I tried to put it back together, man, but I didn't really know what to do. I just made everything all blurry.
It's like it had lightning in it, right? And hail, maybe some hail. And it's like he said it was something new, something he'd never seen before. Well, I don't know.
What if I just take this cloud and move it down to the ground? No, that's a horrible idea. He's just resting one day. We got to get this fixed.
Well, yeah, it's okay if we don't get it right. He'll forgive us, right?
I like it. Your idea is so much better than mine.
No, yours is cool too. With the big bubbling, your paranormal investigators. I like that because I can see them like not really like being able to like stop the ghost or whatever, or, like get rid of them, and and then like sometimes just walking away. Right? Like yeah, you just have to live with him.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I dug it.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. So, maybe in the future maybe we can find a better generator.
Yeah.
Not that one was bad, but like some of the titles, we try to avoid like anime titles, and they all end up coming out being like anime titles.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we can find a better generator and come back and do this again.
Well, this other one that we rejected using just produced the title Oedipus Centipede International.
Oedipus Centipede International.
So that's really not bad.
I like that one. Basically, that's a reboot of the Human Centipede, but only the guy only uses it's a group of guys that get together, but they only use their moms. And their thing is like, remember Hands Across America? Well, it's going to be Human Centipede across America, or I guess across the world.
Oh, here's Schindler's Conjuring.
Actually, I guess we use their dads, because that way their dads wouldn't be there, and they could then like all ravage their moms.
They can just bone their moms.
Right. Yeah. So Oedipus, was it
Oedipus Centipede International?
Oedipus Centipede International. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's a reboot of the Human Centipede, where all these guys that have Oedipal complex that want to fuck their moms, like lure their dads in and have them turn into the Human Centipede.
I like it a lot. It had Schindler's Conjuring. It has A Beautiful Fiction Requiem, directed by Spike Lee.
What?
Yeah.
Is the same directed by Spike Lee?
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Sometimes it gives like a director or star to attach to it. So this is the generator that we didn't use.
Oh,
Texas Chainsaw Assassin 2 Electric Boogaloo, starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Schindler's Conjuring sounds like Schindler's List, but the guy didn't get the stuff he wanted. It's like, he was like, wait a minute, it's like, what's on his list? Eye of Newt, Eel of what? No, I think you got the wrong list. And he comes back, he's like, we kind of lost your list there, so I guess I'll just help the Jews then.
I mean, might as well, right?
It's like, I was going to try like do this like wicked spell or whatever, but oh well.
All right. Well, hey everybody, thanks for giving us a listen. I hope you had as much fun with this as we did. And there's lots of different types of like title and name generators out there, but this one was the most serviceable for what we were trying to do, which was movies. But if there are any good, like, specifically movie title generators out there, then let us know, because I'd be interested in seeing some more. And yeah, I definitely think we'll be revisiting this sometime later down the road.
What about No, no,
Yeah, go ahead.
no. I can't.
I think you can.
I can't. So yeah, I thought that would be kind of fun. When it was my idea, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to just make up stuff, and we're doing it here on the podcast, so there's really no real pressure for us,
Right.
But I think it's kind of cool, like the whole idea of doing that while you're like trying to pitch somebody in a movie that doesn't exist and get them to buy into it. It's kind of awesome, and I'm just gonna say they Golan-Globus made some horrible ass movies. And I mean, they made some horrible. You just watch Electric Boogaloo, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Made some horrible ass movies, but I'm just mention this. Marina Sirtis is going to be at GalaxyCon Richmond.
Ah, okay.
And if I were to go there and see her, I would kind of want to ask her about Electric Boogaloo. But at the same time, I don't really want to, because unless she'd be like, oh, God, this again. Because if you guys are Marina Sirtis fans, you probably already know all this. But Marina Sirtis had a nude scene in one of those, or topless scene. Because that's, if you watch the documentary, you'll see like they were all about certain things,
Right?
So like mentioning that, I think would put in her mind like, oh yeah, you want to talk about my topless scene or whatever? Like, no, I just want to talk about like like making it, being a part of that whole thing and making those movies. Like, what the crap? But yeah. If like I said, if I did go and like meet her or whatever, I would be tempted to talk to her about, like the Electric Boogaloo documentary and like what was that like being a part of that. But yeah, I can only imagine like, trying to like sell these people, and you're just spinning a story right there, and try not to step on your own toes and say like they're like, you've already said like this thing, and then try to go back and be like, oh no, it's not like that at all, because remember, this movie's already made.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, I think that's ballsy. That is straight up ballsy, and that's some shit right there.
Yeah.
So obviously there's no pressure for us, but I think we did a pretty decent job of creating some fake movies.
I think so. I actually really like my Android story.
Oh yeah, the Door and the Boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think I could use that title, but
Why not?
Door and the Boy. It sounds so sexual.
It does.
It sounds really sexual.
It does. That's why you should use it.
I'll unlock his door, don't worry.
I'll get that.
Bend over and open your door, boy.
To come out of the closet. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I dug it.
Absolutely.
I hope everybody else did too.
Hopefully, but if not, listen to another podcast.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. If you don't, if you don't like this one, check out another one. I'm sure you're probably going to find one that you like in some way or fashion. Huh?
There's Behind the Bastards, Dakota Ring Theater, Welcome to Night Court, Welcome to Night Vale, I mean. Oh, you mean another one of our podcasts?
Well, speaking specifically of our podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, those people don't ever say like, "Hey, if you don't like ours, if you don't like high production value, why don't you go check out these guys over here?"
Yeah, just listen to another podcast.
Yeah, none of them.
Like another podcast.
Yeah, say another podcast.
Far away from here.
Another one of our podcasts would be preferable.
Why don't you just watch Minecraft Let's Plays on YouTube or something?
No, don't. Don't. Even if you don't like our stuff, you can't. Just don't do that. Just don't do that.
Yeah, why don't you just watch Minecraft videos, because they're for stupid babies, and if you don't like our podcast, then that's probably what you are. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
You can't insult you can't insult the people that listen to our podcast and they're just like, okay, goodbye. No. This is why we don't have more viewers, because you just insult people. look, if you don't like our podcast, right, I would say give us another shot. Listen to a different one. No, maybe not listen to the one that came before this one or the one that comes after it. Just kind of let's skip or roll a die and be like, okay, now which one should I listen to?
I mean, if you don't like our podcast, then we're interested in hearing why. So, I mean, I would say that you type that up in a Word document.
Oh god, you're going to say something. You're going to say something insulting. Stop.
Just copy and paste that into a 9x9 grid and print that out and then fold it up
Stop.
9 times.
Stop.
And you take that folded up paper and you just soak it in olive oil for about 4 minutes, and then you just take that paper and you just cram it right up your ass.
You just wouldn't stop. No matter what it says. God damn it, Acomi, no means no.
When I hear no, I hear now.
So what I was going to say...
Yeah, go on.
Yes, thank you. What I was going to say is that if you didn't care for this one, check out another one. Maybe not the one directly after this one or the one that came before it, but check out another one of our podcasts, and we're sure that you'll find one that you like. If you don't like that one either, right, then you have to understand that our podcast is designed for, highly intellectual people that whose humor is on a very high-end, sophisticated level. It's for people who are, smarter than the average person. Yeah. So I know if you're listening to this, you may not have liked this one because you just didn't like it, but the next one I know you'll get because you're a highly intelligent person, and that your sophistication and humor levels are of the utmost. They're way over par.
Yeah.
And because of that, you get what we're saying, as where other people don't. So when you see somebody, then you're and you recommend this to them, and they're like, I don't get it. Be like, yeah, that's because you're a simpleton. You may not like an episode, right? But you get it. And sometimes you might have to listen to them and be like, okay, yeah, this one I get, the other one I didn't like. I got it, I didn't like it, right? But other people, if they don't like it, it's because they don't get it because they're just not as smart as you are. Because that's how we design this. Again, not that we're elitist, right? But we design these to be for a group of people who, who have a certain taste level that's not being met by the masses.
Exactly.
And you're one of those people that are above the masses.
Hey, why does Dr. Pepper come in a bottle?
Because his dick is too small to come in a can.
I was going to say because he's all out of tissues, but okay, I like yours too. There's a lot of tissues and his socks are in the wash.
I don't understand. What's the deal about... God, no.
Bye, everybody.
You just can't let me redeem the channel, can you?
No.
You just got to drag us down. I don't know how I got in this barrel with all these other with this other crab here, but that's not how this is supposed to be. God, I want us to be more than that. You're like, why? We could be something great. Why?
It's funny, Eddie.
Oh.
You don't have any closing statements?
Actually, I was trying to make that the closing statement. I was just going to let it fade out there, but then you just kind of fucking ruined it.
Bye, everybody.
You can push the end record button now.
I will.
Okay, thanks.
Here.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.